So we booked this through Groupon, didn't we? I think we paid, what did we pay? About 20 quid, something like that, 21?
Not a lot, not a lot.
No, so just redeem your ticket down there, don't you?
Yeah, you have to redeem your tickets, boarding pass, basically. Yeah.
Easy, really.
Yeah.
And it's to Greenwich, and basically you can get off there, can't you?
Yeah,
But
or
we're
you
just
can
going to stay
go
on.
back, yeah.
No, we're just going to go to Greenwich, stay on and come straight back. So yeah, not bad. 2 hours for 20 quid in, what, 24 degrees weather?
It was given to us by a very grateful Egyptian government over the defeat of Napoleon at the Battle of the River Nile. Those stone needles, they are made in pairs, and the other one is found in Central Park, New York. The bridge ahead of us is Liu Bridge, commonly known to us in London as the Ladies' Bridge. Gets its name as it was built during the Second World War by female labour. All of the men, they were away fighting for their country. The ladies of London, they were left at home to construct the bridge. Of course, the ladies did face it with a very expensive, self-cleansing Portland stone. So every time it rains here in London, which is about 3 times a day, the face of the bridge, it will receive a thorough wash. The Ladies' Bridge was the only bridge to span the river that was completed on time and on the budget. So what a fantastic job the ladies done. So well done the girls. Well done. On our left hand side, behind the trees, the building with the green dome on top, Somerset House. It was once over there where all birth, death and marriage certificates were all once kept. Now folks, I'm afraid to say that today it's home to a criminal organisation, and they like to call themselves the Inland Revenue. That's their headquarters. On our left we've got the white ship with the yellow funnel, the HQS Wellington. She was once a sloop for the New Zealand Navy. Now look behind the ship on our left, amongst the trees, we got this stone archway. That is Temple Arch, a boundary marker between the city of Westminster we do now leave behind us, and the square mile city of London we are now just entering. On our right, we've got the small white building, that's the ITV Studios. It's in that building where they film the breakfast programme this morning. It's this part of the Thames that they use as a backdrop throughout the day. So do give them a big wave and a smile, like you're really enjoying yourselves. There is a very good chance you're on daytime TV.
That's where it was earlier, mate. Oxford.
Oh yeah.
We're travelling with the tide down river today. The tide is ebbing out to the North Sea at the moment.
And the glass
so
thing
we're
on the
going to
top
make
of the
very
building.
good time.
That's where we was.
Down to Greenwich.
It was there.
Our next stop it will be Bankside Pier. Now just on our left, the building with a green roof and the pinnacle on top. The old City of London School for Boys. It was over there where Sir Winston Churchill attended before furthering on his education to Harrow. Now we're just about to pass beneath a group of bridges now. The first one is Blackfriars Road Bridge. When we do pass through it, look either side of us and you're going to see 8 red support columns. This is where the old St Paul's Railway Bridge used to stand. The modern trains, they did become too heavy. So what they did was they took the top half down, but they left the support columns in place, and that was in fear of it disturbing the foundation of the other 2 bridges. The next bridge is Blackfriars Railway Bridge. The platform and the station, it spans the whole width of the Thames, so you can get onto it from either side of the river. Now you hope it's a lovely time to come on the boat today. You do get lovely views on our left of the large dome and golden cross of St Paul's Cathedral, designed by Sir Christopher Wren, said to have been his masterpiece. It took Wren 35 years to complete, and that was in 1710. If you look just ahead on our right through the bridge, we have the white thatch roof building, a replica of William Shakespeare's Globe Theatre.
There was what all down there.
On summer nights, you can go over there, you can see all of Shakespeare's greatest plays, from Romeo and Juliet to another one of his good ones. Now folks, they're all performed as they would have been done during Shakespeare's times. That is with no stage lighting and no microphones. It is the only thatch roof building in London since the Great Fire. Now you see the red flag is flying, that means a performance is going to be on later on this evening. We've got to stop here on the right at Bankside Pier. If anyone does want to leave us, do start making your way down to the exit gate, as you're only here a very short. Now this is Suffolk Bridge. It's the least used bridge to span the river. The approach roads, they're hidden so well into the back streets, no one can find the bridge to use it. It is said if you do see anyone on the bridge, do give them a wave, as they are most probably lost. And through the bridge in the right hand corner we've got a lovely riverside pub. It's called the Undertale. It's got the red window frames. Dates back to 1615. It's over 400 years old.
That's that early, didn't we, mate?
Shakespeare used to hire the attic of that pub as a dressing room for his actors before performing at the old Globe Theatre. If you look either side of us, you'll see the tide rushing around the bottoms of the bridge. You'll see how strong the tide is. And believe me, it gets a lot stronger than this. And you can see it's a very dangerous river. On our left, we've got the golden top piece in the skyline, a monument to the Great Friar of London. Behind it, the building gets larger as it goes up. Right at the very top of that building is a viewing platform. It's called the Sky Garden. It is completely free to enter. If you want to go up there, all you got to do is book online a few days in advance. Sometimes you can just turn up on the day.
Keep tuned for after these vlogs are finished. You will see me and Pete up there yesterday. You'll come after these videos.
To our left, we are now going beneath the famous London Bridge. There's been 8 London bridges to span the Thames at this point. If you look just ahead on our left, the building behind the row of trees, it's got the clock face and the black chimneys on top. This is Walter Guard's house, the headquarters of our country's customs and excise. Any illegal contraband taken from our country's ports, like alcohol, cigarettes and drugs, they are taken to the basement of this building. They're stored there for 1 month and they are then burnt in the incinerators. They are said to be destroyed. Now folks, I've been working on this river for 5 years this year and I have never seen a puff of smoke coming out from those chimneys. However, it is strongly rumoured that their Christmas parties, they are phenomenal. On our right, we got the large warship, the HMS Belfast, built in the Harland and Wolff shipyard, Belfast, Northern Ireland.
Been on that 5 years ago?
The same shipyard that built the Titanic. Seen action during the Second World War and last fired her guns in anger during the North Korean campaign. She's a museum today, open 7 days a week. You can explore all 7 decks, from the crow's nest right down to the engine room. Now folks, what a beautiful photo opportunity we've got ahead of us of Tower Bridge, opened in 1894. The centre bascles, they both raise up and they allow larger ships in and out of the upper pool of London. You can actually walk across the two top catwalks of the bridge. It's a museum up there today. I think it's £10 an adult to walk across. If you look above us, you'll see they've recently installed a new glass flooring. Now Tower Bridge, it is the most easterly boundary of the square mile city. So when we do pass through, we leave the city of London behind us and we now enter into the east end of London in the Docklands area. Look around us, you'll see the buildings, they've all somewhat changed. These would have all been warehouses that were filled to the brim with cargo from all around the world. Just coming up on our right hand side in between the old warehouses, we've got a little creekway to St Saviour's Dock in Bermondsey. Now for those of you on board who may have seen the musical Oliver Twist, it's up this creekway where Fagin drops the jewels in the mud at the end of the film, and also where Bill Sykes fell to his death, and it's all exactly the same as Dickens' times. Either side of us we've got these old Dutch barges. Now what a lot of people are doing today, they're going out to Holland, buying these barges, bringing them back to London and converting them into houseboats. They pay roughly £30,000 a year to moor their boat there. Now it might sound a lot of money, but compared to the house prices here along the banks of the river, it is a much cheaper way to live here in London. On our right hand side we've got a work site for the Thames Tideway Tunnel, the new sewer system that they're constructing. Now the Victorian sewer system, it can't cope with the current population, so that's what they've got to do. Got to build a bigger one. Still going to take about 10 more years till it's all completed. Like I was saying, all these buildings from here on down to Greenwich, a lot of them are old warehouses. Oliver's Wharf on our left, that was the first warehouse to be converted into luxury apartments. To the left of Oliver's Wharf, we've got a very famous pub on the river, the town of Ramstein. It was once an Admiralty court where convicted pirates and smugglers were judged. If you was found guilty of piracy, you would have been given your last tot of rum in the town of Ramstein. You would have been walked down Wapping stairs to the left of Oliver's Wharf. On a low water, the shore on our left, it all shows. You would have been walked along the foreshore. You see the 3 red balconies with the letter E on top? That is Execution Dock. You would have been strapped to the riverbed and allowed free tides to pass over your body. This form of execution, it was called the Grace of Wapping, and the man who carried it out was known as the Hanging Judge Jeffreys. I looked online the other day, it said there's over 300 pirates who were put to death at Execution Dock. The American and the British flag flying just outside of a little white pub called the Mayflower, named after the Mayflower pilgrim ship that set sail from Rotherhithe on our right with 80 Rotherhithe men. The ship it then sailed around to Plymouth to pick up the Pilgrim Fathers, and it then went in search for the New World that we now know today as America. Now keep looking to our right, we've got a small blue building. To the left of it is Pilgrims Park. If you look carefully, you can just about make out a statue of a man and a boy. In the hands of that boy is a book, and wrote down in the book are the names of the 80 Rotherhithe men that went in search for the New World. The area on the left of us is called Wapping. You see the small white building, the Prospect of Whitby. It's the oldest registered riverside pub we have here on the Thames, and it dates back to 1520. Now folks, look ahead on our left, behind the work site, behind the cranes there, we've got the orange complex of apartments. It's all built in a very funny way, but there's over 300 apartments there, and every single one of them has a riverside view. It's all built on the site of Free Trade Wharf. Now Free Trade Wharf, it gets the name, as during the Plague of London, no countries would trade with us. The only people that ever did were the Dutch, and that would have been as far up the river as the Dutch ships would have came. They would have delivered the vital cargo of fresh water, food and medicine. For their bravery, they was waived free port tolls and taxes, and that's, I guess, the name Free Trade Wharf. It's also said that this is where the saying Dutch courage comes from. As we round the bend on our right, we've got another old warehouse. It's got the red crane on the front, Globe Wharf. This was once the biggest rice mill in the south of England. Now look at the way these old warehouses are designed on the banks of the river, right up to the river's wall. They're designed this way so the tugs and barges could have come right alongside, delivered their cargo through the loopholes and be away on the same tide. The word wharf, you're going to see a lot of it on top of the buildings. It stands for warehouse at river front. So that's a warehouse at river front. Just ahead on our left, we got a little entrance to the Limehouse Marina. If you had a little canal boat today and you went up through that entrance, you could make your way onto the Grand Union Canals. You can make your way up to this country's most northern cities. You could get to Liverpool, Manchester or Birmingham. Like I say, just for a little lock entrance to the Limehouse Marina. If you look on the knuckle of the lock, the old lockkeeper's house, it's recently been built by the celebrity chef, Gordon Ramsay. He's turned it into a gastro pub, and it's called the Narrow. Now for those of you on board who don't know the difference between a gastro pub and a normal one, well, myself and the crew, we went over there last Thursday to find out what that difference was. And I can safely tell you all, it's an extra £3 a pint. The area on the left of us is called Limehouse. These terrace of houses on the left, that's called Narrow Street. Now you see the one with the yellow statue of a man in the garden? That is home to Sir Ian McKellen. He also owns the pub a few doors up called The Grapes. It's got the 3 wooden balconies. Charles Dickens, he lived in the attic of that pub when he wrote the book Our Mutual Friend. Ahead of the boat we've got the Canary Wharf development, the financial district here in London. A lot of people, they come on the boat, they think Canary Wharf is the name of the building with the pyramid top, with the light that flashes. That building is actually called 1 Canada Square. You see, Canary Wharf, that's the name of the land in which it's all built on, as it would have been over there where ships from the Canary Islands, where they would have once been dropping off their cargo. If you look on our right hand side beneath the bow of the pier, you'll see we've got these lovely sandy beaches on the banks of the river. Now the River Thames, it is a very clean river. All it is the bottom of it is mud based. We've got such a fast flowing tide, it's constantly just churning all of that mud up, and it never gives it time to settle. That's what gives the Thames that murky effect. We did see a seal yesterday afternoon up at Westminster. Pretty much every day we see seals, especially in the summer months. So it must be a very clean river. All this land on the left of us, this is an island and it's called the Isle of Dogs. Now it gets the name as it was marshland on our left many years ago. King Henry VIII, when he was living down at the Greenwich Palace, he would have kept all of his hunting dogs on the island. And that's, I guess, the name at the Isle of Dogs. For those of you on board who may be familiar with the football team, Millwall, well, Millwall Football Club, it gets their name, as like I said earlier on, it was all marshland on our left. Now what they had to do was, they had to dry all of the land out, so that they can build all of these high-rise buildings. So what they did was, they put windmills the whole way along the river's wall to our left, hence the name Millwall. Like I say folks, you've been a great audience and thank you all for your very kind attention on our journey down today. Thank you.